Countdown, here it is, 3, 2, 1, we're live. Hey Internet friends, this is MagicBrad, Synergy Cafe, and I've got another guest on. We're going to be talking about synergy and collaboration and cooperation to make things happen online and in person. Get that online chatter into real life activity. And his name is Drew. Drew, are you there?
I am, Brad. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Drew Mac, and he uses Mac because it's short for?
McCaughey.
McCaughey. Is that Irish or Scottish or something like that?
Depends on who you talk to. We're going to stick with Scottish.
Okay. Same English accent or whatever. So, Drew, what I do is I just get into some basic questions about this, and like I mentioned after the interview, then I put some links on and we share it and propagate it through the social media and through the internet, and then when people see this, they like what they hear and possibly make a connection synergistically. So the first question is, who is Drew? You know, who are you? Hi, who are you, Drew?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love your line of questionings. I've watched a couple of you. Congratulations on your idea here. This is a wonderful idea. Who is Drew? Well, many years ago, I remember when I was in school. I went to broadcast school, and you know, one of the things that I've always been over my lifetime is a listener and somebody who tried to help in any way he can with other people. And I was going down a road, you know, that I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But when I was in broadcast school, one of the things that changed my life was somebody who ended up obviously being a mentor. And part of the course that I had was sales. And I never considered myself a salesperson. And so I went through this part of the course, and I remember the last part of it, the test, was I had to put together a radio advertisement, 30-second radio spot, for a business. I had to interview a business. I had a list of questions. I had to interview a business person, and then go in and present why this business should be advertising on the radio. I think I was 19 or 20 at the time, and I had to present to this guy who was my teacher, obviously, my professor. And I went through. I thought I had everything he said. I was really, really nervous. And I remember saying towards the end, it's like, you know, I'm stumbling through this. I get it. I'm not really a salesperson. And he smiled and he looked at me and said, be very careful what you tell yourself you're not. So, long story short, I ended up getting into broadcast radio sales about 5 or 6 or maybe 7 years later, not even thinking about it. And that started me down a road that completely changed who Drew ended up becoming. And back in the early 90s, I met a guy who is now my business partner. We've been together obviously a long time in different ventures. And he shared with me a very powerful personal training program, whatever you want to call it. And that started us down a road of actually building business together. And so now here I am, way different than what I ever thought I would have been. And basically what I'm trying to do, what we're trying to do, and what my life has evolved into, is just trying to get people to look maybe at a different option in their life. Now, we've got some problems, Brad, and it's not a secret, right? We've got some big crises, and right now, all those crises are actually something that we can solve. And so over the course of the years, this has kind of come to me in some of the people that I work with. And so right now we're on a mission to just help open people's eyes and say, hey, there's different things out there to take a look at. Don't be so complacent with where you find yourself right now. Dreams change.
Okay.
Things change. Be
We
flexible.
started getting a little bit real. I can tell we're getting real deep real quick. I just kind of want to know who you were, but we already got into the what, and I can already see some other stuff that's getting more in depth. So I'm going to whip through these questions about the who, what, where, when, how, why, and then I want to get into what you're kind of talking about, because I kind of sense what you're talking about with the world economy and all that kind of stuff. So
Fair.
Somewhat it sort of says that who Drew is a business development sales kind of guy, and so that's sort of the what. The other question is where. Where do you do this? So where do you do your occupation? Are you doing this occupation through internet, or do you do local brick and mortar type businesses, or where does all this happen?
Well, I work out of my house. I live in Whitmore Lake, which is just a little bit north of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Small little in the middle of the woods. We have 10 acres out there. We have nice big gardens. So during the summer, I'm pretty busy with gardens. But yeah, everything's out of the house, over the phone or over the computer. I mean, what I do is I teach people how to build a business from home. But the other thing is that we have a lot of brick and mortar business type people that we can help, because there's very specific brick and mortar businesses that are struggling right now, and we can help them too. So it kind of covers the whole gamut.
It's definitely changed. The whole internet to me has shifted the whole way that people can, it used to be broadcasting, now it's narrowcasting, and things have shifted. So the next question is when? When do you do this? Are you like a 24/7 kind of guy that you're always available on call, or do you have office hours, or when do you do what you do? Did you get that?
10 minutes before you and I got online, sir, one of my colleagues called me up and said, I need you at 11 o'clock. So it's 24/7. It never stops. I'm probably a lot like you, Brad. I fall asleep thinking about improvements and do different things. So it never really, when you're doing something that you're passionate about and that is exciting to you, and you never stop. You just never seem to stop. It's 24/7 for me.
Yeah.
Even in the garden, I find it
the
therapeutic.
clock is kind of not relevant anymore. I talk to people on the other side of the planet, and right now it's morning for me and it's evening for them. So they're about to go to bed, and I'm just about to get started. So I hear you. It is a 24/7. You just kind of get a text or a page or something and just do what's got to be done.
Right.
And, the nice thing about that too is you can shut it off sometimes and go enjoy your life. So I'm going to get into the how kind of stuff. Okay, when we get more in detail of what it is, the business that you're doing.
Yeah, it's not a job. You don't punch a clock.
But the last question is one I like to ask everybody, because it's that deep one, and it's one I used to ask my mom and my dad all the time. And the question is, why? Why do you do what you do? Why don't you have a job, or why don't you like volunteer, or why do you do what you're occupied doing now?
Yeah, the why is a great question as well. Throughout my experiences, one thing became very clear to me. I having a boss. Reason, I just didn't like having somebody tell me what I was supposed to be doing when I knew what I was supposed to do. So, in fact, the most recent experience of me being a boss, I was in a very difficult, I shouldn't say difficult, wasn't at it, but it's a very competitive industry within the B2B industry. And
business.
that experience taught me I don't want it anymore. So that's kind of the why, part of why. And the other part of it is, I'm 53 now. I'm going to be 54 in a month. In the last, I'm sorry?
I just raised my fingers. You made it past the 50 threshold.
I'm sorry, Brad, you broke up.
Oh, I just gave you a thumbs up for turning 53.
Oh,
or
yeah,
54.
yeah, mid-50s, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, that's kind of the other for the why, right? In the last 5 to 6, yeah, made it to that far. I mean, in the last 5 or 6 years, I've had no less than 10 friends my age either die or suffer from health-related issues that are totally preventable. And so that's another part of the why. And then the other part of the why is that in January of this year, our family lost a hero. And that's my dad. He's one of the smartest guys I ever knew. Give you an idea of how smart my dad was. He moved in 1960 when I was 6 months old, and went to the University of Michigan and got a degree in engineering and law from the University of Michigan, and he did both of those in 4 years. Very, very smart man. But he also subscribed to some of the problems that we know about now, or I should say public consensuses that we know about. And he died in January broke. And I saw that coming over the last few years with the health issues that were coming up. And that's another thing for the why.
Got it.
There's more, but that's pretty much it.
That's very similar to a lot of people I talk to and a lot of people I interview, and myself also. I mean, I had a job when I got out of high school, and within a few years I got laid off, and I thought, where's my gold watch, And it was just kind of an awakening to me right away, and I just went into full-time entertainment. That's where my MagicBrad things comes from. I was a magician, full-time magician, and that's what I did. I worked at corporate events and fairs and festivals and conferences and things of that sort. And I was my own boss, and I was in charge of my own destiny. And that, I think, is what's leading into our general conversation, that the world has shifted. It's tipped upside down with everybody getting you can go to the library and get internet access to the Philippines or Borneo, or you can connect with anybody anywhere. It's no longer about being in your own locale. And we had talked a little bit about the brick and mortar kind of stuff. They're challenged because they've got to pay for square footage for leasing their space. Then they got health insurance. They got the food, like food and beverage places. They got the food safety people they got to pay for and all that kind of stuff. And employees you got to deal with. And there's a lot of issues. And they got to keep their prices down so that they can sell the product and be competitive. And they've got to have enough profit margin in there so that they can feed their family and pay their bills. And it's a big challenge with people that are brick and mortar based these days. So a lot of people are going home based, just like you and I are, and being able to connect with people via cell phones and iPads and computers, and business has shifted. And it's to me, it's not so much anymore about selling a product and getting money for the product. It might be that you set that up with a system like what Amazon has done, and then you go out and you just enjoy your life and utilize your internet to propagate those links and those connections all through the internet, so people will surf around at midnight and go, I want to buy that book. And it can happen that way, or I want to take that course, or I want to buy whatever online. It's just shifted immensely, and building businesses and like what you I'm assuming you do is you help people market and promote their businesses, whether they're brick and mortar or home-based businesses or a lot of the network marketing type businesses, things like that. And people just got to understand how it all works, because what I've seen, you get onto Facebook and these social media, and unfortunately people just start blasting out there, they call it spamming. They just start blasting stuff out without developing a relationship. I mean, when you and I first started connecting, we were on Facebook. I didn't know who the hell you were, and you didn't know who the hell I was. And I'll be damned if I'm going to give you my credit card to buy whatever the hell you're trying to sell. But now that I'm getting to know you, maybe there's some kind of collaboration. We could work together. We're starting to know, like, trust, and respect each other. So that's how this stuff really works. It isn't just about throwing a bunch of links all over the place. Anyways, I'm talking too much. What do you think? We've got a delay.
You're absolutely correct. That's exactly the way it works. And, you know, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. That is exactly the way it works. And part of what we, Big Vision Business Insiders, our team is bringing to the table is, as you just mentioned, a system to follow. So it's not, there's great products out there, not products, but the system is the most important thing for somebody in building a home-based business and understanding the concept of it, because a lot of people are turning to it because of the economy and the situation, we're all in. Costs are going up and raises aren't keeping up with that. So a lot of people are starting home-based businesses part-time, or trying to do some kind of a, maybe their own home-based business that doesn't have a system. If you don't have a system, you're going to be struggling big time.
Well, you do have to have a system.
Why is McDonald's so successful?
Sure, they haven't got the greatest hamburger in the world, although they might say they do, but they've got a system that's duplicatable, and a lot of people, entrepreneurs, use that example of McDonald's. But the thing is, with working for someone else, there is a ceiling, and it's not that there's this evil CEO that is holding you down, but that's the way that a traditional in-the-box business has to work. They can only pay you so much because they have to have profit, and of course they want to make as much as they can because they're the ones that own the business. Now, the difference with other types of systems like this is you're not limited by just the amount of people that will drive by your McDonald's. Here, we've got 7 billion people on the planet that might want to buy a product, service, or support a cause. And it's going back to the system. A car is a system of transportation. It gets you from point A to point B. But if you haven't got all 4 wheels on the car, it's a little bit of a challenge. Or if you don't have gas in the car to burn when the spark ignites the fuel, you're going to have a problem. So all the elements of the system have to work. But once you got the system working, it's just get in the car, turn the key, and get to where you're going. It's not that difficult. Anyways, so that's what we're kind of getting into. It's a sort of a twofold thing we're talking about, is utilizing the system and the economy. The traditional business is broken. It doesn't really work the way that it used to work, and it's not for everybody. I mean, being an entrepreneur and doing all these internet-based things, some people just want to work at a job, put in your hours, collect your check, go home and have a beer, wake up the next day and do that again. God bless them, but that's not for me.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's not for me either, and you are right. I mean, it's not for everybody. And what most people should consider if they're going to consider doing something is just start something you really, really enjoy, you can get behind, you're passionate about. It doesn't matter if it's our business or yours or whatever it is. Find something you like and do it part-time. Do it a couple hours a day, an hour a day, and just learn as you go. And that's the beautiful part about what we're bringing to the table here is you can actually earn while you earn, if that's for you.
Exactly, exactly. We're at 9:20, and I like to keep these things to about half an hour so we don't consume everybody's time because it's a beautiful day. You might want to get out and go walk by the river or do some hiking or enjoy your life. So I don't like to keep these things too long, so we're going to kind of wrap it up, and then we can talk a little bit later after it. But sort of to summarize, like you said, do what you love. There's no reason why a person couldn't start a blog on fly fishing and start just blogging about fly fishing and start putting some ads on the sides from some of the people that support fly fishing, the different vendors and things, and just do that on the side. And then on the weekend, go fly fishing and take out your phone and take a picture of the trout that you're bringing in and put it on your blog. And people will start looking at it and buying stuff, and it'll start generating an income for you, basically 24/7. And then you can just go fly fish and take pictures and post them, and you might start having an income. So it's no longer about trading dollars for hours. It's about doing what you love and making sure you got a system that brings that money through so you can pay your bills and enjoy your life and buy more fishing equipment. Sometimes I get rambling on. I'm sorry.
Love it.
So I'm going to close this off. If there's anything that you want to say.
No, it's funny.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I'd love to invite people to take a look at what and in all aspects of what we're bringing to the table. What I call the most comprehensive transformation system ever created to help solve the 4 biggest crises that we currently face in North America. So I'd love to invite people to take a look at what we're bringing to the table. I'd love the analogy of fly fishing. It's so funny because I have a friend that's a very well-known astrologer, and she's part of that kind of service that is not actually generating the income it used to generate, and she's trying to reinvent herself. And I just called her up. I said, there's all sorts of different ways we went through different ideas for her. She's like, oh, that's interesting. So, if you get with a group of people, I think the point is that if you can hook up with a group of people that are really creative and making stuff happen, even if that current or whatever vehicle is not for you, just being with those people can spark things. Like, I love what you just brought, fly fishing. I've got 2 buddies that I know that will work for.
Well, my brain, the way it works, it comes up with innovative ideas and things like that. You just got done saying an astrologer. Are you talking like more of like a psychic type, like that kind of? Are you talking about stars and moons? That's astronomy. You're talking about an astrologer that does readings and things like that, psychic.
Yeah, no, she does readings. She's an astrologer. Okay. She, based on planets, and she's been published. Right. She's been very well known. Yeah.
Totally. I'll share more in depth with you when we get off here, but in a nutshell, I've got a concept for psychics to be able to do those type of things and to do these kind of hangouts and stuff and create like panels. And there is a way to do it online. Anyways, I'm going to sign this off, and Drew, if you'll send me some links and things of that sort to the things that you have to offer people, and I will put those into the postings that I propagate out on the internet, and we'll sign off for now. So thanks again, Drew, for joining on Synergy Cafe, and we will do more of these, maybe more on a focused topic later on. So thanks again, Drew. And stick around. I will connect with you when we sign off here. So thanks again.
Thanks, Brad.